Hi everyone, Shane Thompson here from Metro Punting. Today I'm going to tip you the Doncaster winner and the trifecta, hopefully. Alright, I'll go through my form selection analysis, the profile of past Doncaster winners and how I go about assessing a race and coming up with selections for tips that I send out to all my followers. So let's get into it. So the first thing that we look at is the speed map. So what I like to do is assess how fast I think a race is going to be run, where horses are going to settle, and likely whether they're going to be on the rail, 2 wide, 3 wide, up the front, in the middle, or at the back. So what you can see on my computer screen here is how fast the horses leave the barriers. So that gives me an idea of how many horses might push forward to lead and where they've got to come from, whether they've got to come from out wide or if they're on the fence. That way I can determine a best guess at how fast the race is going to be run. So once I've had a bit of a look at that, the next thing I do is formulate how I think the horses will settle after about 200 or 300 metres of the race. So in this particular race, the Doncaster for 2020, I suspect that Quackerjack, this is the lead here and this is the back markers. I suspect Quackerjack will lead from Prince Fawaz. I think Homesman, Imaging and Colding might be caught 3 wide. Then I've got Brandenburg, Contepatiro, Melody Bell, Super Seth, Shared Ambition and Mr. Seawolf looking like they're going to get pretty good runs in the race. I suspect that they'll go probably pretty fast for the first 200 or 300 metres and then they'll slow up a bit, and the race will probably go at an even tempo, even to fast, which will probably suit horses on the speed, just behind the speed, or maybe that midfield kind of section. So with that in mind, let's jump in and have a look at what it takes to win the Doncaster handicap. So if we start with the past results of the last 20 years, this being one of my favourite races of the year, I've got some pretty in-depth results in my database that I can go back and look at stats and get some averages of where the winners' likely form looks like and where they might come from. So the first thing we kind of look at here is the winning odds. So the average for the last sort of 19 years is $9.30. There's been 3 big winners at $21 and 2 at 21 and 1 at 31. So if we take them out of the equation, you're kind of looking around about the $4 to $9 mark is the sort of a common area price where the winner comes from. Days since their last race start, anywhere from about 7 to 21 days is the most common, but the average is actually 15, so around that 14 to 15 days since their last race start. Number of lead-up runs coming into this race. The 1600 mile at Randwick is a pretty testing distance and course, so you want to make sure that your horse is fully fit for this race. So it's anywhere from 2 starts to 5, with the average being about 3.5. So working on sort of 3 or 4 starts before this run is the likely average. Their finishing place at their last race start and which race they came out of before this race. So going through the history, most horses either won or run second in their last race start, and there's a few that's 3rd or 4th. So if we concentrate on horses that have placed 1st, 2nd, 3rd and maybe 4th in their last start, that'll give us a good pointer. And then the best form race lead up to this race is the George Ryder Group 1 handicap at Weight for Age, 14 days before this race, run at Rose Hill. That's produced the most winners over the last 19 years. The age group, pretty much 3-year-olds to 6-year-olds have the best winning rate. 3-year-olds actually get in really good at the weights, being that it's a handicap race. They're usually down on the weight, so if it's a good 3-year-old that's come out of good races and good form races, they've generally got a good chance. But in saying that, the average weight's around 53 and a half for the winners. But it is a race where really good class horses can win. Happy Clapper won 2 years ago with 57 kilos. Winks won with 56 and a half kilos. More Joyous won with 57 and a half. And Sunline won with 58. So if you're a good proven class horse and you get the right conditions and the right position in the run, you can still win this race. But looking at the averages, we're looking for a horse that's got around 53 and a half kilos. The barriers at Randwick, the 1600 metres is probably the fairest start for all races around Australia, in my opinion. There's about a 600 metre run from the barriers to the first turn, so that gives every horse the best chance of getting a position in the run. So the barriers are I wouldn't say they're of little consequence, but you know, like in every race, if you're a leader and you go forward, the closer you are drawn to the rail, the better. So inside the first sort of half of the field is good, and if you're a back marker and you go back, well, it doesn't matter if you're drawn out sort of wide. That's not too detrimental to your chances. And then the running lane of the winners, so whether they're on the rail, they're 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, etc. The most common is, like in most races, the horses in running lane was either on the rail or 2 wide. And then looking at where, once they straighten up and head for home, up over the rise, how they got through to win the race, whether they held their line, whether they had to sort of bullock and burst through the pack, or if they had to peel out wide and come wide. It's a bit of a mixture. It's probably a little bit more beneficial to be sort of on the lead or just behind the lead, so that you can sort of hold your line as they straighten up and then head for the winning post. So now we've had a bit of a look at the averages. What we can then do is run through the field this year and apply those averages to see if we can find a horse that fits the profile. So starting with the winning weight, 53 and a half kilos. So the horses from 11 to number 20, so Contapatiro down to Prince Fawaz, they all qualify. The age of the horse, 3 to 6 year olds, so same horses pretty much qualify except for, I think, Night's Watch. Finished position last start eliminates a few there that hadn't finished first, second, and third or fourth at their last start. Now look at the number of lead-up runs. So this is where we start to get into dropping off most of the field and starting to get the profile of a winner. So we've got 2 left, and that's pretty much the 2 3-year-olds down the bottom, number 19 Brandenburg and number 20 Prince Fawaz. They both had 3 lead-up starts coming into this race. They both raced in their last race 14 days ago. And then we come to the price, and our price range is $4 to $9, and that's Brandenburg $7. I think Prince Fawaz is around $15 at the moment. He's into 15. So Brandenburg is the one there at the odds that suits the profile. And in the running line, if we go back to my speed map, I've got Brandenburg sitting just behind the leader on the rail, which is pretty much perfect. I can't see him being too far back from the second, maybe third pair back, but yeah, he looks to be suited by the speed map. So, and he actually finished 4th last start in the George Ryder, the race that we said is the best race lead up. He finished 4th, only beaten at 1.7 lengths by some very good horses, Dreamforce, the Bostonian and Tiaco Shark, all Group 1 winners, all Group 1 weight for age winners, and he was not very far off them, so that all bodes well for this race. So now that we've kind of got Brandenburg as the profiled winner from the past history and stats, I'll apply my other selection criteria that I put over any race that I do the form on, looking for a winner. I haven't got everything I do in here, but I've put the most important ones in my opinion. So the weight, Brandenburg will have 50.5 kilos. I think he had 56.5 in that last race, so he dropped 60. Lightweight, wet track, up on the lead. That's what you want to have on wet tracks, so that's a big tick. I'm not sure. Glenn Boss is the jockey. I don't know if he rides under 51, so he might have half a kilo over. He might be 51, 51 and a half, but I suspect he might get down to that weight, being that it's a big Group 1 and worth a lot of money. The class, so it's a Group 1 handicap, this race. Brandenburg raced in a Group 1 weight for age last start, so he's actually better suited in this class because he gets a better weight concession off the class horses, so that's a tick. The distance, he's placed at this distance, this track 2 starts back. He ran 3rd in the Randwick Guineas at this course and distance, only beaten 3/4 of a length or so, so that's a tick. Track conditions, he won first up this time in on a soft 7, so he should get through the track conditions okay. Won or placed at this track at Randwick, so yeah, he's placed 3rd at this track 2 starts back, and he's actually trained at this track, so he should know the place pretty well. Top jockey, I won't back a horse in a big race like this unless they've got a proven big race rider who does well under pressure. And Glenn Boss, like I said before, is the jockey. I think he's won this race 6 times before, so he knows what it takes to win this race. He knows where they need to be in the run. He's just proven time and time again in this race, so that's a big tick for this horse. And the trusted trainer, the trainer John Sargent, he trains at Randwick. He's trained some good horses in his time. I trust him. He's probably not in the top echelon of trainers, but he's up there. He's a pretty good trainer. He's trained some good horses and won some good races. So that's all ticks again. So looking at the race, how I'm going to play and bet it. If we go through the field, obviously I've got Brandenburg on top at $7. I think that's a good bet each way. Of the others, I think the best rough in the race is number 13, Quackerjack. He came through the system a little bit. He's only had 2 lead-up runs, but he drops significantly in weight from his last start, which was only 21 days ago, and he's out to $17 now, so $17 each way. I'll be having something on Quackerjack. As we said in the speed map, he will be sitting, he's going to be leading. So if he can get to the front and then have a pretty soft time, he'll be pretty hard to get past. He won the Villiers stakes to get exemption for this race back in the spring. He won that race pretty well with a little bit more weight. So he's a good chance, best rough in the race in my opinion at $16 or $17. And of the others, Melody Bell, which I think will probably sit sort of handy, maybe midfield. She's the class horse. She's coming off a 2 runs in Melbourne. I just don't think she was fit enough down there. She finished 3rd in the All-Star Mile, but I think this is the race they set her for. She might have maybe a kilo more than what they would have liked, but if the rain comes, they're meant to get some rain in Sydney today. If it gets to a heavy track, she's a mudlark, excels on it. That would bring her right into contention at around the $8 mark. I still think she could win, given the luck in running. She's a good chance. Just the weight, can she give Brandenburg 7 kilos? I'm not sure, 6.5 kilos. But she's pretty classy. She's been there, done that, and proven. So I'm going to back Brandenburg as my main chance. I'll have a bet on Melody Bell, and I'll be backing Quackerjack each way. So that's my trifecta for the race. And if we look at how I've actually bet and played the race, I've projected Brandenburg. My price is $5.75, and I was able to get $7.40. Melody Bell, I think, is a $6 chance, and there was $9 around yesterday, but she'd be in 8. She'd probably start shorter if it rains, so she'll be around that $7 or $8 mark. And Quackerjack, I've rated a $6.50 chance, and he's actually at $16, so that's a pretty good price. And then trifectas and quinellas, I'll quinella Melody Bell, Quackerjack. and Brandenburg, and then I'll trifecta the 3. So there we go, guys. Hope that's been informative. Hopefully I've picked you the winner, and hopefully I've even tipped the trifecta. So let me know if you like this. Click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you like this, and maybe comment on it. Tell me if it was informative and you liked it, or tell me if you didn't like it, or you think I'm mad and I've left out the winner. That'd be good. But anyway, good luck. Happy punting.